Good evening, everybody. This is your favorite aspiring historian here, a wandering author, reminding you that we're all the authors of our own lives. As always, my message remains the same. Spend less, live more, earn your freedom with frugality. And we're going to talk a little bit about Socrates' trial. I've mentioned Socrates before. He was one of the first philosophers in Western history. Obviously, prior to him, there were people like Thales of Miletus, and the pre-Socratic philosophers like Pythagoras. But Socrates really, what he did that was so significant was he turned the questions of philosophy from theoretical questions like what is the nature of reality to questions concerning human affairs. He did not leave a ton of writings behind, but of his own, but he was known for having these really long speeches, which Plato imitates in his dialogues, and then Aristotle pays homage to Socrates quite a bit. However, he does get sentenced to death by the Athenian people, and he ends up having to drink a concoction of hemlock poison. So, Socrates was already a well-known figure when he went to trial in 399, and he had been featured in 2 extant comedies. So we've still got evidence of him being a character in some comedies today, in comedies that still survive to this day. The actual charges brought against him have been preserved by a reliable source. Socrates is guilty of not acknowledging the gods the city acknowledges, and of introducing other new deities. He is also guilty of subverting the young men of the city. The penalty demanded is death. There was what basically his court subpoena said. He was charged with not acknowledging the city's gods and of corrupting the city's men, young men. Those are quite some charges. Considering Athenian attitudes towards the gods at the time, Socrates' charges beg the question, why was he charged at all? The Athenians were known for being a little more cosmopolitan, so to speak. The third charge, that of corrupting the city's youth, seems to be the most prominent. These young wealthy men would comprise the retinues of the 30, which were those tyrants, the 30 really wealthy people that overturned democracy in Athens. And in the Socratic dialogues left behind by Plato and Xenophon, he states his views on what is a state, what is a statesman, who and how to rule, etc. Many of his followers were oligarchic and pro-Spartan, tarring Socrates with the same brush. So being pro-Spartan and being oligarchic was not how you got the Athenian people on your side. A lot of the people that followed Socrates closely were pro-Spartan and oligarchic. So it just made Socrates look bad, in other words. However, he was renowned for anti-democratic and anti-egalitarian views, so there is some truth in the jurors' claims. Socrates believed that some people deserved to have more than others, basically. Still, Socrates had been teaching upper-class men since the 430s, so why would his trial not take place until 399, 24 years after Aristophanes made him Athens' most famous intellectual? Question mark, hashtag? Hashtag question mark. It took that long for the city's elite to perceive him as a threat. That's the answer. Socrates was also purportedly the lover of Alcibiades, and he kept several members of the 30 in his inner circle, creating vulnerability. The Athenian people were not fans of the 30 and their oligarchy. So the fact that Socrates was friends with some of them also did not make him look good to the Athenian people. 50 years later, after Socrates' death, the politician Aeschines would say, quoting, "Athenians, you had the sophist Socrates put to death because he seemed to have been the teacher of Critias, one of the 30 who destroyed democracy." And then after the 30's fall in 403, Socrates was living on borrowed time, and the opponent's prosecutors arrayed against him were all prominent Democrats. Socrates was too anti-democratic for the new Athens. And tomorrow we'll go over the Corinthian War and how Lysander tried to dislodge the Boeotian Confederacy by himself. and that'll be a little bit longer of a video. So, anyways, I had decided not to do another whiteboard for Aristotle's video. I may try to do 2 of them tomorrow, earlier in the day. It's getting kind of late where I'm at. And putting these boards together is quite a bit of work. So hopefully you're learning a little bit about Greek history if you are following these videos. Don't forget to like this, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends. I know that it's not necessarily the highest in production quality, but I do actually put forward quite a bit of effort in the content itself. And all of the views that I get, whether it's 1 or 2 or 20 or 100, is it matters to me. Or it means a lot to me. So anyways, what are y'all doing in order to inspire, uplift, and empower your community today? Because this world isn't changing unless we all do our part. And you can count on me to do mine daily. Until next time, I love y'all. And obviously I'm tired. Y'all have a good night.